SpaceX is one of the most closely watched companies in the world right now. Even though it has not officially gone public, its valuation is already believed to be in the trillions, making it one of the most valuable private companies in history. And yet, the most interesting part isn't its current value, it's what might happen when it finally enters the stock market. Because when a company this large goes public, the entire financial world can shift in seconds. Fortunes can be made or lost overnight. That's why investors everywhere are paying attention. But to understand how SpaceX reached this level, we need to go back, long before rockets, contracts, and billion-dollar valuations. In the early 2000s, after the success and sale of PayPal, Elon Musk suddenly found himself with capital, resources, and a new question: what comes next? While most people in his position would have stepped back, Musk wasn't interested in comfort or stability. He was thinking far beyond Earth. His focus wasn't just business anymore, it was survival, expansion, and the future of humanity itself. At the time, space exploration was completely dominated by governments like NASA and other national agencies. Private companies didn't play a meaningful role in that world, and space travel itself was extremely expensive, slow, and limited by outdated engineering approaches. Musk believed that had to change. In 2002, he founded SpaceX with a simple but extremely ambitious idea: make rockets reusable. Because at the time, rockets were single-use machines. They launched once and were destroyed. Every mission cost hundreds of millions of dollars, and then everything was thrown away. Musk saw this as the core problem. If space travel was ever going to become normal, rockets couldn't stay disposable. But turning that idea into reality would be far more difficult than anyone expected. SpaceX started small: a handful of engineers, limited funding, and a goal that most experts considered unrealistic. The company had no guarantee of success. In fact, failure was expected. But Musk wasn't building around probability. He was building around persistence. And the first real test would come with their very first rocket, Falcon 1. The goal of Falcon 1 was simple: reach space, not orbit Mars, not return safely, just prove that a privately built rocket could make it beyond Earth's atmosphere. But the reality was brutal. The first launch failed shortly after liftoff. The rocket didn't perform as expected, and the mission ended almost immediately. The second attempt wasn't much better. Again, failure. And then came the third attempt, and again, failure. At this point, most companies would have stopped. Investors would have pulled out. The project would have ended. But SpaceX continued. Because each failure wasn't seen as the end, it was data, information, improvement. And that mindset changed everything. Finally, after years of testing and rebuilding, Falcon 1 succeeded. For the first time in history, a privately developed rocket had reached orbit. It was a turning point not just for SpaceX, but for the entire space industry. Because it proved something important: private space companies could actually work. That success changed everything. SpaceX, once seen as an unrealistic experiment, was now being taken seriously. Even NASA began paying attention. Soon contracts followed, including multi-billion-dollar agreements to transport cargo to the International Space Station. SpaceX was no longer just surviving, it was becoming essential. After Falcon 1, the next major step was Falcon 9, a much larger, more powerful rocket designed not just to reach space, but to carry heavy payloads reliably. This rocket introduced a new level of capability, and alongside it came the Dragon capsule, designed to transport cargo safely to space stations. For the first time, a private company wasn't just launching rockets, it was delivering supplies to orbit. But the real revolution came later. SpaceX began working on something that changed the entire industry: reusable rockets. Instead of burning up or crashing into the ocean, rockets would return and land vertically. At first, many experts laughed at the idea. It sounded impossible. But SpaceX kept testing, and eventually they succeeded. A rocket launched and then landed back on Earth, perfectly intact. That moment changed aerospace history forever. As SpaceX continued to evolve, it introduced Falcon Heavy, one of the most powerful operational rockets ever built. Its first mission wasn't just technical, it was symbolic. A Tesla Roadster was sent into space as a demonstration payload, a moment that instantly became iconic. SpaceX didn't stop at rockets. It expanded into something entirely different: global internet infrastructure. Starlink became a satellite network designed to provide internet access anywhere on Earth. Thousands of satellites were launched into orbit, gradually building a massive communication system above the planet. And unlike traditional space missions, this wasn't just science, it was a business, a massive one. Now, SpaceX is focused on its most ambitious project yet, Starship, a fully reusable, ultra-heavy launch system designed for interplanetary travel. Its purpose is simple in theory, but extremely difficult in practice: take humans beyond Earth, to the Moon, and eventually Mars. One of the long-term ideas behind SpaceX is launching rockets from offshore platforms. By moving launches away from cities and closer to the equator, efficiency increases and safety risks decrease. It also allows for more frequent launches without disturbing populated areas. This concept could completely reshape how and where rockets are launched in the future. From a small startup built on an impossible idea, to a company reshaping global communication, space travel, and possibly the future of humanity, SpaceX has completely changed what private industry is capable of. But perhaps the most important question is not what it has achieved so far. It's what comes next. Because the next chapter of SpaceX hasn't been written yet. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. We break down stories that shape the world, one video at a time. See you in the next one.